democracy is not for sale.
That's right, man.
Democracy is not for sale. We're here today from the Federal Reserve with the great Dr. Jamal Bryant, leader of the Occupy movement. It's a great march. The people are protesting because they deserve justice. They want equality in today's society. The 1% will not continue to have the wealth of the world. The 99% have raised their voice. They are demanding the rights and justice for all people.
And not to die. We want justice, so we occupy. We fight to live and not to die. We want justice, so we occupy. We fight to live and not to die. We want justice, so we occupy.
We shall overcome today. We shall overcome this today. Democracy is not for sale. That's an
We shall overcome today. What do we want? Justice!
In 13 different cities, there are groups that are assembling just as we are assembling today. Occupy has in fact spawned, grown, and developed to 100 cities in America and 53 countries around the world. Let's stand in solidarity with them now. It has become a global phenomenon. And so our next strategic move, ladies and gentlemen, will be on February the 14th. On February the 14th, which is historically, traditionally for us, Valentine's Day. On that day, which is a Tuesday, is a representation called Love Your Community. If you love your community, on February 14th, we're asking, hear me, 750,000 to 1 million people to open up bank accounts at community banks, minority banks, or credit unions. We are going, hear me very clearly, we are going to shift upwards of $20 to $30 million in one day. Somebody make some noise for that. $20 to $30 million will be shifted in one day. We understand that the language of Wall Street is in fact commerce and money, and they will not in fact begin to comply and acquiesce until there's money on the table. There are 5 lead banks in America. 5 lead banks in America. Number 1, Bank of America. Number 2, yeah, boo for them. Number 2 is Wells Fargo. Number 3 is Capital One. Number 4 is Chase. 5 is Deutsche. Those 5 banks, ladies and gentlemen, are going to get a demand from Occupy. They're going to get a demand from Occupy on February the 15th, which is the day after we shift $20 million, saying that if they do not change their banking processes, we are going to begin divesting money in wholesale out of those banks until we bring the banking system of America down to its knees. Come on, you better come on. There is going to be a financial revolution afoot, where if in fact we are not represented on their national boards, not for the local branch, but for the national boards, there must be a voice from the community that represents the interests of the people and the interests of our children. If they do not, acquiesce to what it is that we demand, they will in fact see a wave across the country of divestments. The first wave, ladies and gentlemen, will be professional organizations. The doctors, lawyers, and accountants will begin moving their money out of those banks. The second wave, we're calling for all of the Pan-Hellenic organizations, all of the Alphas, the Kappas, the AKAs, the Sigmas, the Iotas, the Omegas will begin moving their money out of those banks. The third wave, we are asking all of the churches, synagogues, mosques, and temples to move all of their monies out of those banks. Come on, you got to do better than that. A system and a culture that money recognizes money. America does not understand, as Brother Faraji said, we do not come as beggars, we come as hard-working taxpayers. And as a consequence, the banks work for us. And so America is getting ready to see, please hear me clearly, America is getting ready to see a financial revolution like it has never seen before. That we are, in fact, going to understand that the bank gained their capital, gained their interest on the backs of hard-working people such as who are here today. If you know the bank has your money and it's your money, come on and make some noise even now. And so those banking institutions are put on alert. Please know that on February the 14th, the revolution begins in high demand, and every 30 days we're going to raise the ante up to a whole nother level so that by the time the Democrats and the Republicans get to their national convention, nobody will be able to get to the mic without addressing the Occupy agenda and what it is that the people need. Occupy is, in fact, a nonpartisan movement that is not Republican or Democrat. It is, in fact, the words of Kwesi Mfume, no permanent fringe, just permanent interests. So whoever has the best interests of the working class at stake is the group that we're going to support. We're going to be able to put forth a clear agenda to whoever are the two representatives, one from the Republican, one from the Democrats, to ask them very clearly, do you stand for what Occupy stands for? If in fact you stand and support what Occupy stands for and support, we will support you. If you do not, here it is, we will go to the other candidate. If they do not, the other candidate doesn't, Occupy is going to have to form its own party and begin to do something to begin the shift. And so what are the things that we're going to be asking? Every person who is running for U.S. Senate, every person who's running for U.S. Congress, and every person who dares put their name on the ballot to be the president of all the people of the United States. Do you believe in capital campaign reform? Do you believe in the reform of banking in America? Do you stand and support for the full strengthening of Pell Grants for our young people to be able to go to college and universities? Do you stand with us to call for the immediate freezing of the moratorium of foreclosures in this country so that people will be able to keep their homes? Do you believe that Wall Street should in fact give us $100 billion for job creation, wealth creation, and entrepreneurship? Do you believe Americans should be put back to work? Do you believe all of our veterans who are coming back home deserve the medical treatment that they deserve, should in fact be attended to, and have an opportunity for life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness? If you agree, occupy your voice. In the civil rights tradition, of Martin Luther King Jr., on whose shoulders we stand on today, Sir Walter Raleigh said, you can see further when you stand on the shoulders of giants. And we stand on the shoulder of the giant, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. They killed the dreamer, but did not kill the dream. Whenever you try to kill a king, a kingdom will always emerge. And so this is the first generation post-civil rights that did not march with Dr. King, did not go across the Edmund Pettus Bridge, didn't know anything about fire hoses or Bull Connor, but we do know about injustice. And so from that corner all the way to this corner, we're going to march all day long in front of the Federal Reserve Bank so that America will realize, so that these guards will realize that we are not intimidated, we are not afraid, because they work for us. And so,
No justice.
No peace.
No justice.
No peace.
No justice. No justice. No peace. Banks got bailed out.
We got sold out.
Banks got bailed out.
We got sold out.
Banks got bailed out.
We got sold out.
Banks got bailed out.
We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got sold out.
Yes, we're here at the Federal Reserve. Here's his brother, Faraji Muhammad. Sir, how are you today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Here we are, the Occupy movement, with the great Jamal Bryant as the spokesman for the Occupy movement. How do you feel about what's going on today here?
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing. I think this type of demonstration is necessary and is needed. What we wanted to try to get across to people is to make sure that young people are heavily considered in this larger conversation about economic inequality and economic justice.
Yes.
You can't talk about having any type of real future in America without any investment in young people, particularly among black college students. So that's why we're asking for the strengthening of Pell Grants. That's why we're looking for ways to open up greater doors, more doors for greater access to opportunities.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that young people, the voice, the interest of young people in the next generation is highly considered, is very much on the table.
Yes.
And so while we're talking about what's going on all across the country, the revolutions, the revolts, as you're looking at what's going on a international level, the fact is that American youth need to be a part of this process. And I think, unfortunately, there's been an effort to try to keep young people, particularly in the black community, dumbed down.
Absolutely.
So we don't think about our purpose, the really the nature of why we were created. You know what I mean? Because there is a spiritual undertone and spiritual essence to this whole process.
I believe
that we can't you know, just disregard.
Right.
So the fact is that if young people start to see themselves not as a future of hope, or a generation of hope, or a generation where, you know, they're of desire, but a generation of fulfillment.
Yes.
Then we can start to move forward on some and making some of the strides that we need to make in this present day and time. So this is just a beginning. My hope is that we can get as many college students, as many young people actively involved in the process, and see where this movement takes us. But the fact is, the beginning part of this is the raising up of a new consciousness, and we are seeing a new consciousness being emerged all across the country.
You know, when you mention a new consciousness, I'm even listening to some of the new music, and it's more conscious now than ever before.
Absolutely, and you're going to see that.
And that will make it more impactful throughout the community of the young people.
Absolutely, and I think that music has always been a major factor in making sure that the messages get across.
Yes.
But also, it's this type of demonstration. It's being out there. It's not just chanting, but also adding something to the chants. Not just demanding, but also making sure that the demands are coming to fulfillment. There's a level of accountability. As I mentioned today in my remarks, that we're demanding things from the federal government. We are saying things to Wall Street and all of those things. But really, the real demand is on the next generation.
That's right.
We cannot allow our people or our young people to just sit on their hands and just scream and shout and then not have nothing to be a part of bringing this reality into fruition.
Absolutely. And you know, fortunately, today's society, young people are so much more conscious, and they want better. They want to do better, and they want great leadership.
Absolutely.
And you know, so we're so proud of you as a leader.
Thank you,
Pastor Jamal Bryant as the Occupied leader, the spokesperson, because we believe that he's that next voice, that great voice that cried out from the grave of Martin Luther King, because God knows we needed someone to stand up and cry loud and spare not without any fear, any trembling, to do such.
Exactly. And you know what, here's the important part of it. You know, I'm truly of the belief that it takes all of us, because the condition of our people is at such a low point that if we do not have the help of all of those who have the skills, the talent, there's no one man or one organization. And I heard the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad put it this way: no one man can rise above the condition of his people.
That's right.
So the fact is that it really requires all of us, people of goodwill, people of consciousness, to say enough is enough. The system is broken. The system is not meeting the needs of young people, not meeting the needs of the multinational, multiracial society that we live in. So there needs to be a change.
And you know what? So many barriers have been broken down now. People are together. They are unified because we have one thing in common. We all have to live. We need food, water, and shelter. Those essential needs we all must have. So now people have now come together and organize. As you see today, so many young people here, and it's so diverse, black, white, Chinese, Hispanic. It's such a beautiful sight to see because people want better for tomorrow.
Absolutely. And you know what? It should be that way.
That's right.
Because the fact is that, you know, there is a lopsided or there's an imbalance in the system, and that causes an imbalance in the mind. Anytime you have people who do not receive justice, that leaves them mentally imbalanced. That's something, that's something I heard the Minister Farrakhan talk about.
That's right.
So it leaves an imbalance. So that's why we're seeing the type of response in the streets. That's why we're seeing the violence. That's why we're seeing the domestic, because there's an imbalance, because there's no freedom, justice, and equality that's present in the household, in the communities, in the way government, and the way we're being governed. So there has to be those three essential components in order to have a society that's going to move forward.
All right. We want to thank you, Brother
Sir,
Roger.
brother.
And you are such a great, we appreciate you and all of your great work. God bless you, and God bless America.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Black, white, 99%. We are 99%. We are 99%. We are 99%. We are.
Hello, this is John Holmes. We're here in front of the Federal Reserve with Brother Stephen Smith, the CEO, President of the Executive Director of Rainbow Coalition. How are you, sir?
Good.
Today is Occupy.
Yes, it is.
Now, today is a day of change, a new beginning. People are tired. That 1% have been taking advantage of Americans, and we have to make a change today. And today has been a day established for change. How do you feel about that?
I feel really good about it. In the tradition of Fannie Lou Hamer, who once said, "I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired."
That's right. That's right.
As we can see, the whole country is sick and tired of being sick and tired.
That's right.
And we are hoping that the community, the government, and agencies would hear our voices today all over the country.
And they will. They must hear our voices because they owe us. We have worked from our foreparents hard. From slavery up to today's society. They owe us, and we've worked hard. We've earned justice, but they are not giving us justice. So how do you feel about that?
Well, I feel like now is the time. Today is the day, and this is the place for the federal government, for banks and institutions to hear our voice and to hear us out concerning our grievances and our complaints.
Yeah, because I heard Pastor Jamal Bryant say on February the 14th, they're going to ask people to remove their monies from the major 5 banks into community banks, especially black banks and credit unions. How do you feel about that?
The message is, if they don't change, then we have to make a change.
That means we have the power to bring change.
Exactly.
And that's what Americans all need to know, that we have the power.
Exactly. We do have the power, and this is an election year, and so all of these things are literally in our hands, and we want the country to know that.
But isn't it true that that 1% has put a mental block in so many minds that they don't have the authority or the power to make change?
That is true. It is interesting that over 150 million Americans live in poverty.
That's right.
And today, and until we get change, those 150 million Americans are going to speak up about it.
You know, there's a statistic out that 30% of the middle class are now in food stamps line.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
And that's sad.
Yes, it is. Very sad.
And we want to say to the middle class that you have a voice, a strong voice. Could you say something to our middle class, please?
Well, what I want to say is, if the middle class doesn't speak up, then there will be no more middle class.
That's right.
And so today we want to get the whole world's attention, as well as the middle class Americans' attention, to let you know that every time you hear announcements about Occupy, every time you hear events about Occupy, we want you to participate. If you don't occupy, then the 1% will.
That's right. Did you hear? So you've heard them. You, the 99%, you have the power to bring change, to make change. The power is in your hands. We have great leaders now. In the voice of Pastor Jamal Bryant as Occupy voice for America. Make a change. Make a change. Thank you, sir. All right, God bless you.
No peace, no justice, 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 no peace.
We're back. We're here at the Federal Reserve. We have Brother Maurice.
Yeah.
How you doing, sir?
Good to meet you.
Good. How do you feel about the Federal Reserve, sir?
Well, as I was saying, the Federal Reserve is actually an international banking cartel. It's not part of the United States government.
Are you trying to call them gangsters, sir?
I'm saying that it's about as federal as Federal Reserve. See, they gave it that name so that it sounds governmental, but it's actually not.
It is a separate entity.
Exactly. And the government has to borrow money. See, people think that China owns us. We actually owe China about $2 trillion. We owe the Federal Reserve over $10 trillion. That's with the T.
Wow.
We owe them $10 trillion and counting. See, when we go to war, we have to borrow money from the Federal Reserve.
That's right.
You understand? So when we spending $5 to $7 billion a week, you understand? But we can't fix the bridges and the schools and feed people. But we got imagine if we were mandated to spend $5 billion a week. This is so mixed up. They'd argue over how. If I said I'm going to give Republicans and Democrats, I'm going to give you $5 billion. You have to spend $5 billion a week. They couldn't do it. They'd be arguing and fighting and everything else. But we can go to war.
Right.
You understand?
Nobody's arguing.
Because that's part of the plan. Like next, we're getting ready to go into Iran.
Absolutely. I believe that.
Now, have you noticed? I'm going to show you everything they've done. First of all, Obama asked for economic sanction against Iran.
Yes, he did.
He went there and said, don't spend any money here. A Predator drone went down. I don't know if you heard about that.
I know. Yes,
Okay.
I know. I'm aware.
He asked for the Predator drone back. And do you know Dick Cheney in an interview said he should have launched an airstrike immediately?
Well, that's the mindset of the Bush administration.
The lady said, do you understand that that's an act of war? Okay. Now, have you heard about the nuclear physicist guy that they just killed?
Yeah, I do hear. I heard that a motorcycle was driven beside the vehicle, stuck a magnet bomb, and boom.
Okay.
That's almost a James Bond movie
all
scene.
This is setting up so that we can go into Iran. Now, have you heard about the Hormuz Strait?
No, sir.
Okay. It's a body of water. The Hormuz, right. It's a body of water that I think it's like 170 billion gallons of oil goes through every day.
Yes.
Iran has closed this off.
They have closed it off.
Well, they're attempting to close it off, and they threatened the U.S. and said if anyone comes through, they taking the ship down. And just about 2 days ago, 2 U-boats got within 500 yards of a Navy ship. Now, they were warned, and they turned off. See, all this is setting up because next we're going to go to war with Iran.
Well, where will the money come for war, sir? The Federal Reserve. Did you hear that? The Federal Reserve is the money supplier for war.
You see, because with things like this, they have to ask and sanction. But once we go to war, there is no asking. We're at war. We don't have time to ask, so we just borrow and we borrow and we borrow.
And who pays the money back, sir?
The American people.
Is that why we are now the 99% and that 1% pays nothing?
Exactly. See,
they benefit from the war?
Exactly. In fact, they're usually on both sides of the war. They start wars. You see, and the 1% controls 40% of the income on the entire planet, which means 50% of the people on this planet are living on under $2 a day.
Wow.
See, because this is a monetary system as opposed to a resource. See, if this was a resource-driven society, because we have enough to feed and clothe and house everyone, but that's not economically
sound.
So therefore, it's not going to be done. So they don't like now. It's cold outside. You think they care? People can put out their houses, or people have to sleep on the sidewalk?
Absolutely not, sir.
They have gold airplanes and this kind of thing.
And toilets.
Exactly.
Thank you, sir, for your time here. But we ask you to continue to be with the Occupy movement. We need you.
No doubt.
The whole world needs you. Thank you, sir. God bless you.
No justice. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice. No peace. No justice.
Yes, we're here. We're here at the Federal Reserve with Virginia Spatz. Ms. Spatz, how are you?
I'm well, thank you.
That's good. Why are you here?
I'm here because I wanted to support the sort of the next evolution of the Occupy movement, Occupy the Dream.
Yes.
This is my
Okay.
statement for this morning, which I took from one of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's speeches from 1967, where he talked a lot about poverty, and people sometimes focus only on the race messages or only on whatever they want to listen to, but he talked a lot about poverty and how we have to change our institutions. So that's what brought me here this morning.
And Dr. Martin Luther King not only fought for blacks, but whites, Hispanics, all people.
Indeed, he did. He wanted justice for everybody, but especially for those who didn't have a voice at the time, which, you know, has changed a little bit, but there's a lot of us who still just aren't being heard. Our election this year is ridiculous, just, you know, ridiculous.
But you know, as a united voice with millions of people in the Occupy movement, your voice, my voice will be heard this time. Because if not, those people will not be elected. They will not be the Houses of Representatives or the White House.
I hope so. I have a little bit of hope. The Occupy movement has given a lot of people a little bit of hope. You know, we were in a bad way for a while.
Absolutely.
So
we're very, very glad you're here. We ask you to continue to fight in the Occupy movement, stand strong, because your voice is very important.
Well, thank you very much. It was nice talking to you this morning.
And thank you.
No justice, no peace. 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 No justice, no peace.
Good afternoon. We're here again at the Federal Reserve. We have two great doctors here focusing on health reform. And your name is?
My name is Dr. Vivek Murthy, M-U-R-T-H-Y.
And your name?
Dr. Basim Khan, K-H-A-N.
What needs to happen with health reform?
Well, simply put, we need to move healthcare reform forward. You know, we've already, since in the last 2 years since the law was passed, we've seen millions of people in our clinics and in our hospitals who are being positively impacted by the law. But there are a lot more people who can benefit from it in the years ahead. But in order for that to happen, we need to support the law, we need to make sure it's implemented, and we need to build on it in the years ahead.
How do you feel about health reform?
I strongly support the health reform law, and simply put, the reason is because of my patients. I'm a primary care doctor in a community health center in Alexandria, not far from here.
Okay.
Many of the patients I see are uninsured, and the reason they're uninsured is because they recently lost their job, because they work for small businesses like restaurants or drive taxis where they don't get health insurance, and too often we see the consequences of people not having that insurance. I've seen patients very recently, just within the last few weeks. One guy who took good care of himself, took his medicines, he exercised regularly, had a good diet, but he lost his job after 7 years of working at the same place. His doctor couldn't see him anymore. He ran out of his medicines, and one day while coming home, he had a stroke. Was in the hospital for a full month. Disabled since then.
Is that right?
Yeah, disabled since then. And then he made it to our clinic, so I'm able to see him right now. I mean, this is stuff that happens all the time. I have another diabetic patient who's in and out of the hospital because she can't get her medicines. Other patients who with cancer, who since they got cancer lost their job, lost their insurance, and then were not able to get follow-up care. I think this is wrong. And that's why I think we all need to very much support this law, because each one of these patients would have had health insurance had this law been in effect a few years ago. And so to me, as a doctor, I think it makes obvious sense. We all need to support this law. And anyone who's talking about repealing this, I wonder who they represent. So
probably the 1%.
Yeah, I just feel like it makes perfect sense to carry this law forward, and we're strongly in support of this law, because not having access to care is an injustice. It's a great injustice in this country.
That's right. And we deserve equality and justice. And if we're not healthy, we're no good. So, doctors, we want to thank you all for your time. Continue to fight for the Occupy.
One other thing I wanted to actually just tell you real quickly is that, you know, we're two doctors who support this, but there are thousands and thousands of doctors across the country who support this law for exactly the reasons the Dr. Khan is saying, because the people they're seeing every day are the ones who need the law, and it's going to benefit from them. You know, a few months ago, we got an email from a physician in Alabama, actually, who dedicated her career to taking care of patients in underserved areas in Alabama. She doesn't get paid a whole lot for it, but she does it because it's the right thing to do, and she's trying to serve people. But she herself, in turn, it turns out, is suffering from an illness called common variable immune deficiency. It's a problem with the immune system where you can't fight infections. So she needs an expensive treatment every month in order to keep her immune system up. Now, her insurance has been paying for this, but unfortunately, because of the old way the insurance companies worked, they had a limit on how much benefit she could get, even if she paid all her premiums. And she was about to hit that benefit. If she did, that would mean she couldn't get her medicines. That would mean that she couldn't serve people out in the community. She would have to actually stop practicing medicine. And so because of health reform, which is now banning any kind of caps on lifetime or annual limits, she can now get the treatment that she needs, and she can continue to serve people. So that's the kind of benefit that the law is bringing to doctors and patients, and we want to make sure that keeps happening. Okay? We appreciate it. Thanks.
Have a good day. Thank you. All right. You heard it from doctors. Health reform is so important because if people lose their jobs, they lose their health benefits, then they get sick and possibly die. So we've got to fight with this and stand with the Occupy movement because we want people to live and want them to thrive. We want doctors to be able to provide great health care to the citizens of this great United States of America. Thank you.
No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice, no peace. No justice.
Hello, we're here today at the Federal Reserve with the great Honorable Pastor, Dr. Jamal Bryant, the spokesperson for Occupy.
Yes.
It's a pleasure to see you and to be here with you, sir.
This is an exciting day. History is being made.
Yes, it is.
And I'm excited to be a part of it.
That's it. You know, it has been said that the cry from Dr. Martin Luther King himself has come from the grave to heaven. Yes. There was a meeting in heaven, and they wanted a voice on earth to help to free and to see folks having justice and equality.
Yes.
And your name came up on the roll.
Wow, I'm honored to know that Dr. King's life was not in vain.
Absolutely.
That this is significant because this is the first generation of African Americans that didn't march with him.
That's right.
That didn't sit in the back of the bus, never saw fire hoses. So it's our generation's time to step up to the plate and do what's needed and necessary.
You know, you mentioned on February the 14th, you have planned for the major 5 banks, if they don't agree with and give justice and equality to people, for folks to take their money out of those 5 banks and go to community banks, credit unions,
and minority
banks.
Yes.
Why is that so important?
African Americans are the 12th wealthiest nation in America, in the world, but we've never done collective banking and collective bargaining. This is going to give an opportunity for us to show our economic strength, what we can do, and the banks to realize they need us more than we need them.
Right. Yeah. Well, and Pastor, it is so important that people have a leader.
Yes.
And you are that leader. How do you feel about being that leader?
I feel like it's long past due, that our people have almost been in a holding pattern, waiting to take off, and I'm just here really as an air traffic controller saying, come this way. So it's an exciting time.
Yes, it is. And so many Americans have lost their jobs, they've lost their homes.
Yes.
What could you say to some of those who've had those tragedies?
In the words of Jesse Jackson, keep hope alive. Occupy movement is, in fact, getting ready to be a voice for the voiceless, and, in fact, give some glimmer of hope and hold some accountability in Capitol Hill for what needs to be done for hard, working-class, poor people.
And what would you say to young people who are the ones who have led the marches with Reverend Dr. King? What would you say to young people today?
I would say that it's your turn, that their feet have got to be on fire because they've dropped the torch. So pick up that torch and start marching in the place where your grandparents were and realize it's our time now.
Yeah, because, you know, also in Alabama, when they had the bus boycott, it was for 1 year.
Yes.
And, you know, we may need to boycott the businesses and corporations that won't give us justice and equality. How do you feel about that?
We're moving in that direction, but it's going to have to be guided, and it's going to have to be focused, and it comes through training and understanding. So I'm excited about it.
Yeah, because most people did not understand Occupy. Right. And so could you, those who are still undecided and don't know what it is, could you explain to them what Occupy is?
Well, Occupy the Dream, we're asking for 3 things. 1, we're asking for complete security security of the Pell Grants so our young people can go to college. We're asking, number 2, for an immediate freezing of foreclosures so that people can maintain their homes. Number 3, we're asking for campaign finance reform so that our politicians are not controlled by corporations but are in fact motivated by the need of the people. And fourthly, we're asking for $100 billion from Wall Street for entrepreneurship, job training, and job placement.
All right.
All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. God bless you. All right. That was Pastor Jamal Bryant, the voice of Occupy here in Washington, D.C. And we're so excited to be a part of this great movement because this is the day of change. This is the new beginning. So you, the 99%, you have the power.
We got sold out. 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 We got sold out.
And we're back here at the Federal Reserve. And you are?
Yolanda Knight.
Miss Yolanda Knight? Yes. Hello, how are you? You are here marching in the Occupy parade here. And why?
Well, for me, it's not only just being promoted by our pastor, but it's also very, very privileged for myself because I was one of the homeowners that by Wells Fargo's and the bank, they did a foreclosure on my home just as well. And matter of fact, there was 2. So it's not just marching just because other people are marching. It's just marching because there was terms and circumstances that could have been raised and brought to the issue of the fact of me keeping my home. But instead, I couldn't move any penalties or they wouldn't change any bylaws. And with the term being wrote up as it was, at that time we was in a bad economy, so therefore the home was lost, amount of money that was.
But do you feel the banks were negligent and manipulative in that process?
Yes, they could, because there was other avenues that they could have helped to be able to refurbish the house, not only refurbish the house, but also refinance it. But by me going through the cracks in the lines of it, I was not able to get the credit or pull out equity in the home.
Well, we will thank you for being here for the Occupy movement, and I know you will say to other, what would you say to those other folks who have lost their homes in the foreclosure process?
Just because you lose 1 or 2 homes in a foreclosure, there's still other opportunities and avenues that you can still regain a home, and then also you learn from the bad decisions and the choices that you did make or you didn't understand about certain terms, that when it's time to own another home, you know some of the fine lines and the balloons that comes along with a lot of things that you're uneducated about.
Thank you. God bless you. All right.
Banks got bailed out. We got sold out. 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 Banks got bailed out. We got sold out.
Hello, we're here at Occupy in front of the Federal Reserve Building. We have here, what's your name, ma'am?
Cynthia.
Hello, Miss Cynthia. How you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. And why are you here?
Because I think it's important for me to be here because I'm a single parent. Along with that, I'm a veteran, so I have a lot of factors practicing in this protest. I'm sorry, I'm nervous. I'm going to try to relax. Because there's so many things I see every day. People losing jobs, and the things is that we need to do something about it. We can no longer wait for government to do it. The thing is that government, and if you don't know, most of those government workers or Congress are millionaires themselves.
Absolutely.
Do you think they have a public interest in our interest? I think not. So a lot of times they think about their own interests versus their constituents versus the overall public. And if you think about it, we the 99%, and that 1% is considering most of Congress. Because if you think on the average, every congressman makes about $1 million or $2 million per year, separate from their salaries from being in Congress. And a whole lot of people don't know that. Then along with that, they don't pay into Social Security. They don't pay for health care. But for example, myself, I had to pay for my child and me. And on the average, that's about $1,000 a month. And as you get older, anyone who's over 65 and over, if you don't know it, Medicare doesn't pay for everything.
Wow.
So a lot of times you're homeless because of medical expenses. So you make a decision versus medication versus food. Congress don't have to deal with that every day because they set for life. And another fact is that if you only serve one term in Congress, you're set for life. So for example, if I serve only 4 years and I'm 33 years old, I'll get my salary plus health care plus all those benefits until I'm 65 or until I die. And a lot of times, if you didn't know it, a whole lot of people don't. If you, for example, Strom Thurmond, he lived up to what, 90-something years old. He got paid, and then what? Even though he's dead, his wife continued to get his benefits.
Wow.
And she's in her 90s, so just imagine, 4 years in Congress, continue to get that money. So I think at this point, we need to do something.
That's right.
I think we should limit terms on Congress. I think we should get them all out of there, because everybody's blaming the president. It's not the president.
It's not.
It's the Congress. So we need to do something. So it starts with me. It only takes one person.
That's right.
So I figure if I'm one person, then another person, and then another person at that, we'll finally get some change.
We all make the 99%. We want to thank you for your time. God bless you.
God bless you too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Got bailed out. We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got sold out. Banks got bailed out. Sold out. Banks got bailed out. We got 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 sold out. We got sold out. We got sold out. We got sold out.
Hello, we're here at the Federal Reserve. We have two wonderful ladies here who have joined the parade in the Occupy movement, and your names are?
Sonia Chappell. Jessica Salmon.
Tell me, ladies, why are you here today at the Occupy movement?
I'm here because in 1963, my mother put my brother and sister and I on a Greyhound bus as such as a committee like this, and we came up to D.C. in 1963 for the Martin Luther King I Had a Dream speech.
Is that right?
Yes.
You were there?
I was there. I was 4 years old.
Wow.
Yes. So this means a lot to me. I always try to involve myself into anything that's going on with the Martin Luther King dream, and I will continue to occupy the dream.
All right, we want to thank you. And why are you here today?
I'm here because with the disability field of it all, and we needed somebody from the disability field to come down here and make sure that Martin Luther King wasn't forgotten on our side. I'm also here with my church, Empowerment Temple. This is the first time that I'm doing this, and I will be back if they have it next year. So we're just here to make sure that disability and all what we want Martin Luther King to be recognized for is being done and accomplished.
We want to thank you. Thank you. People are coming out from all walks of life because they know that they deserve equality, equality, equality.
What democracy looks like. This is 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 what democracy looks like. This what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like.
And we're here at the Federal Reserve at the Occupy movement, and you are?
My name is Ebony, and I'm with Empowerment Temple today.
And you are the one, I believe, that led the song?
Yes, Lord.
What was the name of that song? And could you sing a little bit for us?
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yes,
and
Lord.
Today is the day of a new beginning.
Yes, we are here to occupy.
And I'm so glad you're here because your presence has been so strong at this particular meeting today of Occupy. And you just sung a song to America that we shall overcome.
Yes, we shall. We will overcome. There is no question about it, as long as we have God on our side and we stand firm and strong and believe in what we stand for, and that's to occupy, we shall overcome.
And here today you have representatives from all over, all cities in America that are in the Occupy movement.
Yes, today we have D.C., we have Chicago, where they say we have Atlanta. We definitely have our own here from Baltimore, Maryland, and of course all of our family at Empowerment Temple. We came to sit out today and occupy with the occupancies that's been all over the city and all over the states of the United States. And we thank God today that it was peaceful and there were no problems. And what it is that we're going to do is occupy, and that's all we want to do.
All right, thank you.
All right.
God bless you. There you go. She's going to occupy. We're going to occupy. That 99% is going to occupy. We'll be right back. We're here at the Federal Reserve. We have here, what's your name, sir?
Thaddeus Main.
Hello, Thaddeus. Can you read the sign? What does the sign say?
The sign says, "Don't tread on me."
Don't tread on me. And what does that really mean in the Occupy movement?
In the Occupy movement, it means that the federal government and the forces in power and the corporatocracy are oppressing the rest of the country and to an extent the rest of the world through their largely unregulated exercisement of their power. Power that is not constitutionally granted, power that is not legal.
That's right. And we're here today to stand up as the 99% and fight against the 1% saying that they will no longer tread on us.
Exactly. The 1% is exemplified by the Federal Reserve, and its constant inflation of the money and its unaccountability is the very essence of the treading that is being done.
Thank you, sir. God bless you.
God bless
Keep
you
fighting.
as well. Thank you.
Occupy. Say that. Okay. Okay, we're at the Federal Reserve, and we have a lovely couple here today. And your name is, sir?
I am Ronald Flamer, and this is my wife, Coletta Flamer.
Hello, Ms. Coletta. Why are you all here today for the Occupy movement?
We're here to support the Occupy movement in that there's so many people out here that are part of the working poor, and we like to lend our support and help in any way that we can.
Well, thank you for being such a great American, and thank you, ma'am. I know you're a little shy today, but we thank you for being here at the Occupy movement. Again, Occupy. We're strong. Thank you. We're here at the Federal Reserve. These are the young people, the leaders of tomorrow. Young ladies, I'm so proud of you all coming today for the Occupy movement. What does this mean to you?
It really means, well...
Are you proud to be here?
Yeah.
Do you want justice?
Yes.
Do you want equality?
Yes.
All right. And what does it today being here at the Occupy movement mean to you?
It means that we can get the dream that Martin Luther King promised us.
You want to say that one more time?
It means that we can have the dream that Martin Luther King promised us.
And do you believe you deserve to be treated right in this society?
Yes.
Do you deserve to have the ability to go to college?
Yes.
And with the Pell Grants helping you?
Yes.
That's right. And I understand you're a singer. As a singer, and for this great movement, the Occupy movement, what would you like to sing?
We shall overcome.
Let me hear. She's going to sing "We Shall Overcome." This is a child in the Occupy movement leading a song, "We Shall Overcome."
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome today.
All right. We shall overcome. She said today. Occupy, we are moving today. Today starts this great move. Thank you so much, and God bless you. All right. What school do you go to?
Deer Park Middle Magnet.
All right. All right. Thank you. Hey, we're here at the Federal Reserve. We have members from Dallas, the Occupy movement in Dallas. How you guys doing? All right, good. What's your name?
Paul Penny.
All right, Paul.
Pete.
Hey, Pete.
Kyle Helton.
All right. You all are from Dallas. We're here in Washington, D.C. in front of the Federal Reserve Building. Why are you here today?
I'm here to promote equality within the human race, really. I want to get corruption out of politics and create an America where we can actually have a dream. It hadn't been that way in a while, so that's why I'm here.
And you, Pete?
I'm here for a level playing field for everybody. And I'm here to remove the influence of money in our government. And I'm here to stop the American Legislative Exchange Council. It's the most dangerous organization in our country.
And you, my friend?
I'm here for the same reason more than anything. I think the Federal Reserve is actually a pretty good background, just for a simple fact that this is essentially one of the major heads of the beast as far as getting the money out of politics. I mean, just get rid of this, man. That'll solve a lot of issues.
And you have a mask on to symbolize what?
Anon or Anonymous.
Can you place it on your face?
Yeah.
Do you see this? This is a face up. Looks like the devil. Representing the Federal Reserve?
No. No, it's a mask, originally from V for Vendetta, but it's the philosophy behind it that the government should fear the people, not the people fear the government. It's the philosophy and not the actual thing. It's based off of Guy Fawkes, a historical figure from the
revolutionary in England.
Okay, all right.
It's also the hacking group Anonymous.
Okay, great. Well, listen, guys, we want to thank you from Dallas. Continue to fight. And I do have, I want to almost apologize that Ravens beat you all yesterday, the Texans. Yeehaw!
We're still not over the Cowboys.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Be good here at the Federal Reserve at the Occupied March. And we have here today
Sergeant Dino Greer.
And you are from, where are you from, Sergeant?
I'm basically out of Hollywood, California. I'm here to see what this occupation movement in D.C. is about on Martin Luther King's Day.
Okay, we're glad to have you here. And you saw the march. How do you feel about the march and of the Occupied movement today?
I think it was very spiritual based. I think it was very eye-opening. I think a lot of information was put out. And I feel that a lot of people need to research the information to break down the barriers and stereotypes that a lot of people have put out to, discriminate those people that are participating in occupation movements across America.
Well, today we did see a diverse group of people from all ethnicities in society, and they know that now that they have the power to make change in this government.
Well, I mean, as a returning vet, two-time American hero, I want to be that face and that voice. So people see me going to all these occupation movements and meeting with other people, and they say, hey, if he can do that, I want to follow in his footsteps. I fought for this country for all races to be able to change. So now that they can see that this is all through the media, on different networks, different channels and resources, and if you're young, talk to the old. If you're old, talk to the young. Doesn't matter your race. We need to be out here to make change in every community.
That's right. Well, sir, we want to thank you for your time, and I want to say to you and salute you. May you continue to occupy, sir.
Hey, thank you.
All right, thank you. And your name is, ma'am?
Maria Morales.
Hello, Miss Maria. How are you? And what brought you out to the Occupied movement today?
Well, King Day is always a day on, not a day off. It's not a day for us to sit home and be couch potatoes. It's for us to take part in something, to do something, be something. We just have to honor Dr. King's memory, and we have to continue to carry it forward. And that means that we have to participate in anything that King would have done. Do like King do. What would King do? That's what we have to do.
That's right. We want to thank you for being here, taking part in the Occupied movement.
Thank you for coming and covering this. It's important that more journalists, more programs are out here covering the news so that people know, so that they can too get involved.
All right, thank you. Occupy, folks. We gotta occupy. Hello, we're here today at the Federal Reserve, the Occupied movement, led by the great Pastor Jamal Bryant, the new spokesman for the Occupied movement. And today here we have, and your name is, sir?
Michael Simmons.
Michael Simmons, it's good to have you here at the Occupied movement. Sir, you probably are young enough to remember some of the marches of Martin Luther King.
Yes, I was. Matter of fact, I was here on the March on Washington back in '63 with my parents, who are now deceased. So I know that.
All right. So again, you're here historically. What would you say about, how do you feel about the movement of today, the Occupied movement?
It's a beneficial movement. It's for the same thing that we've been fighting for: is economic parity, economic opportunity, education, justice for all in this country, stated as the Constitution.
And of course, you are a member of the Empowerment Temple Church.
Yes, I am.
And your pastor is the spokesman for Occupied. How do you feel about that?
It's an excellent mantle for him to take up, considering the fact that the AME Church has always been involved in the civil rights movement. This is a civil rights era that we're looking at. So we need to move forward, continue moving forward in that same persona as the AME Church always had, for the rights of the human being and all rights for all men.
And it's very important I say that because the churches have to take, as you well know, back in King's time, the churches were a big part. The Southern Baptist Christian Coalition was a strong part of that march and that at that time. Is that correct?
Yes, as well as the AME Church itself.
So will you encourage all churches to become a part of the Occupied movement?
Correct, because that's what Jesus Christ fought for, was the freedom for all men, the rights for all humans.
I want to thank you, sir, for your time. God bless you. May you continue to occupy.
Thank you. Occupy.
Occupy. All right. Amen. That's a great man there that was on the march with Martin Luther King back in '63, and today here at the Occupy movement. Before we sign out, I just want all of Americans to know that the Occupy movement has now have purpose. It's meaningful for you and you and you to join hands together. And it's sad that it brought some tough times, but these tough times have brought all people together, all races, all creeds. So we know that we are all one. We can stand together. We can be united and one strong voice, and we can change America. God bless you. Thank you, and may God bless America, and may we continue to occupy.